You know, I can't remember the last time we had a tournament that I actually, well, I mean, when was the HLL? It was Dynasty. Would it be same time last year? Alrighty. Now, oh, you can't see it right now. I am kind of cheating here. Um, I am using someone else's stream watching the match. We have two commentators, apparently. Um, official commentators. So this is just one of the guys. I'm not sure what the other guy is. I think he's DPM head here. But hopefully, again, like um, they don't mind me watching their streams and commentating. I am going to silence them, but of course, I'll try to avoid any kind of overlap with any of their UI. And of course, whoopsie daisy, not what I wanted to do. If you want to go watch him yourself, there's a link in the thing as well. But if you can even type that in, because that looks like Korean with kanji, like Korean letters with kanji. So I'm just like 100% confused. But yeah, we're on the special server. Hello, K City. How you been? The disappointing thing here is that it's randoms facing off against CBEL. I don't know why it's a 16. I don't know why they have 16 people in each side. So that's also annoying. There's too many people joining right now. Ah, man. Anyway, one interesting thing is that I can barely remember most of these names. I think Dorian seems familiar. Oyaji's probably had different iterations of how his name's said. I remember Lucas. I think Pika Pika was probably in the HLL, but probably not in the earlier stuff. I knew Subatai's been around for a while. Lachen has also been a very familiar name for me. Nerve V is also just it's in the back of my mind when I'm just like, have I seen this name before? A Kid Cha 3, Kid Biom, Love Hate, Tashao, Tyrone, Tyrong, and Shisen. Probably not names I'm familiar with, but hopefully we get to enjoy a nice match between these people. So one thing that everyone probably has to know, we are on a special tournament server. So the good thing about this is that everything is equalized. There's no random garbage that like doctrines or runes. Who is the other team? They're a bunch of randoms, honestly. I think there is a mistake because there's a CBEL on the other side, and then there's this guy AGU on this on the other side. So it's just very confusing. Yeah, don't ask me. I think this is going to be end really badly in favor of like CBEL. CBEL will just probably trash the other team, and like make no mistake, individually they're probably much better. So it's free farm, yeah, probably free farm for CBEL. Um, as a show match, it would have been better if they handicapped CBEL somehow. I think it would have been much better to kind of like have a methodology or some kind of restrictions that CBEL would be privy to, but the other team wouldn't be. So one of the things that I think would have been very interesting was to see if CBEL had restrictions on the types of units they can bring. One of the big ones I think would be absolutely insane is that if they could only use units from the unit tree, or could only use units from particular years. So like, or like set a like 1 to 5, season 1 to 5, those kinds of things. But I highly doubt that. Now, again, I'm not the cameraman for this one. I think that Conqueror's Blade cameraman sometimes are a little bit scuffed. Right now, he's probably just getting used to the controls. Off with a straight up treb onto the artillery. Not actually that great, considering that it's kind of a waste of a very powerful tool. And of course, CBEL just goes straight out with a Sally. I mean, like, from the unit selection, you could already tell with the mass cavalry that they would have gone for a Sally. And of course, the enemy team is just not prepared for it. We're going to see probably the right-hand side. So we're looking at the right-hand side right now. This supply point is just going to get completely wrecked. And I say completely wrecked, even if they have halberdiers and what looked to be the remains of a Fort Horatio, but that Fort Horatio probably got clapped in. Hey, maybe I'm talking out my ass right now. CBEL's the ones that attacking. Never mind. I am completely I'm completely wrong on what just happened. Is actually man, I'm not used to my setup, so I'm getting I'm getting I'm getting very flustered here as I'm now behind on information. CBEL is attacking. They climbed the wall, interestingly enough, and very unfortunate that this guy also has graphics set so that units die unit model yeah, dead bodies get instantly destroyed. I mean, get instantly thing. It's actually quite impressive how aggressive the defending team is right now. They threw away their cavalry when they should have realistically just bailed. Like, they actually did a big pickup at the beginning and just clapped that right hand side. Now they have a lot of stragglers, and again they could have gone multiple ways with this, but the number of people who committed versus the number that are still on the ground right now, dropped off really fast as they were not coordinating their attacks very well. Now, obviously, CBEL recovers very, very quickly because, of course, they would. They were grouping up onto that supply point very, very tightly, but that's also kind of like backfires a lot because cavalry is so powerful that no matter how dense a pile you have, unless it's a dense pile of either braced units or really tanky units, you're just going to get collapsed in on. Especially with the new unit, whose actually damage output is actually kind of crazy. Like their base damage for their weapon veteran at like they travel at high speed, so I'm guessing when they're like at full speed running and they do their weapon veteran, they're dealing like 3,000 damage to 8 models, and they can do that 4 times. They can do that multiple times. I mean, like an attack. The attack sequence is 4 attacks, but they can trigger that multiple times. I think they can trigger that up to 3 times. So they can do like 12 attacks that hit 8 people all in a row. Now, of course, the defenders here should have probably used the stairs instead of the stairs backfiring. It's semi-working, but it's mostly because there's no real pushing force coming from CBEL just yet. I think the the Wu Wei Mansion guards just got to the front, but I think most of the fight there was dictated from the Imperial Spear guards just beating up the Palace guards, or vice versa. Now, as you can tell, the defenders are being super aggressive, but they're burning through their units like crazy. Coordination is not really the strong point of randoms, but you get that. You get that. As you can see, the unit count for CBEL is astronomically higher, especially for the tier 4, about equal for the tier 5, but like we already have probably a 180, probably around about 6 units worth of probably around about 6 units worth of advantage here, and probably high tier units. Definitely pushing in one by one, but this is the kind of difference between um, teamwork when we come for random players and we come against a team. And you can definitely tell that CBEL's a little bit rusty, but it's also just from the almost erratic behavior from the enemy team that CBEL's trying to work like a team against a team that is straight up not working as a team. So one of the more erratic strategies that some teams back in the day when they used to be like more CBEL CBL was old style ECL would have a lot of erratic behavior where solo players would take advantage of their team players. So in this case, you have kind of death balls forming for the defenders, and they just kind of go with the flow. So you get that kind of almost erratic behavior, but at the same time, it coalesces into a big push that could work out. The Sally, the Sally worked out at the beginning, but they couldn't bail properly, or they couldn't escape properly. They trapped themselves because someone locked the door. Um, they didn't leave very much defense for the A, and the pressure continuing on after getting the supply point was just way, way, way down, way, way, way down. If they had a more formal strategy of how they were going to do that, it would have been much, much better in performance. Now, unfortunately, we're not watching it, but the tail of CBEL right now is getting hit. I'm not sure if it's getting hit hard, but a couple of cavalry just came up behind them. We have a couple of guys on the top side and the bottom side of the B point. So when I say top side and the bottom side, I mean like north and south. These lanes are particularly important. We also see CBEL on. I'm looking at the mini map, by the way. We also see CBEL taking the south road. a lot of times when we come to CBEL in um, whatever this place is called, Hidden City, they normally it would be better off to go up through the center in order to avoid range piles, just shooting the hecker out of you. Now, of course, we've got a couple of people that just didn't get the memo that they were retreating and going for a base defense, so Green Gun just threw his halberdiers in. I think a couple of people also don't have very many. That did look like a ballista up on top. And as you can probably tell, it's super fast paced. I'm almost struggling to keep up with the pace of the battlefield because the defenders are incapable of holding their position and also are being very very aggressive with trying to counterattack and catch the attackers off guard. But the problem is that CBEL has been moving as a team almost the entire time. Once the attack started to stabilize, um, well, when the attack across the wall started, I mean, basically just straight after the sally, CBL has been working as a team all this entire time and concentrating on preserving as much of their forces by taking fights that are advantageous. But this is also just the fact that the defenders are way too aggressive. We're now down to about 300 units, and I highly doubt that among the 300 units, there are 10 tier 5 units. At most, there's probably around about 6 high tier units left. This is like either tier 4 or tier 5, and probably we're talking about maybe 3 or 4, probably higher in terms of like surf units that remain. Situations like these is also a good point to make with teams. In a team setting and in CBL in particular, lone heroes will always be the first to die. You have to protect yourself with your units. You have to also protect other heroes from their stupid actions. Now, straight into the fight there. Unfortunately, we didn't get see very much, but it did look like a very good exchange for the defenders. I think the Wu Wei Mansion guards just completely wrecked that frontal assault. As you can probably see, that the exchange there was basically even, going down from 750 odd against 330 odd. CBEL actually took a massive loss just in that exchange, but they had more units in the end, so they're definitely just pushing on for the victory here. Now, I don't know who this AGU is. I'm not sure if he's even a part of CBEL. I think Lucas is nominally probably a good player. I know Lechen and Supatai are good players, or normally rank high in these kinds of settings. Now, I'll also quickly... well, he just skipped right through that anyway, but it doesn't really matter. We don't know these players. I don't keep track of players enough to just be like that. No idea. I'm expecting quite a few matches, indeed. Because it would be kind of sad if the show match was only one match. I think a best of 3, even if they lose all 3, it's just a good show match. So when I say best of 3, I don't mean that CBEL just like wins 2 and they don't play a third one. What they should do is they play a first one, they play 2 sieges, 1 attackers, 1 defenders, so they swap, and then you end it with the field battle, because that's the normal setup for best of 3. If you have 2 battles, if you don't win both of them, or one, or like it's a tie, the tiebreaker is a field battle. So in a show match, it would be great if they did the swap and still did the field battle, regardless of the result. It's apparently for the regional tournament. I think the Koreans are setting up some kind of regional tournament that they're doing, so that's why they kind of wanted this. No idea on how many teams we're talking about, but the team selection in the form that we got for commentators had quite a few teams. I think there was like 8 teams, more than 8 teams probably. So I very much like the CBL more than the normal. Hope soon my G teams can also join in CBL events there. It would be fun. Honestly, more people just means more teams. More teams means that you can have better and better people, better players, better teams. And I mean, like, getting 15 people together is a big ask. One of the biggest asks out in, like, any video games, I would say. I, like, in a competitive setting, the fact that, like, CBL exists or was even attempted is massive. It is possible to play, or it is possible to have teams in Conqueror's Blade, and it's a distinctly different game when teams are just at such a high level. And I mean, like, not individually. Individually, players can be very, very good. But when we come into a team setting, like, teamwork and strategy is escalated beyond anything that would coincidentally happen in Siege. Maybe there are magic moments where people just everything just like you set up, like, for some reason a bunch of dominoes were set up and you knock them all down. The kind of situations where, oh my goodness, my team's just holding the enemy still. I'm a ram cavalry straight into them. It is more it's less spontaneous, but it's just like you can see some moves coming on occasions. Okay, does look like AGU is meant to be on the CBEL side. I'm not sure why that CBEL guy is on the attacking side, but I do find it funny. Huh? Where is he? I don't. Does he use a different? Does he use a different name? Now you can definitely tell that, like, they're definitely choosing very meta units. The new Cav is basically a guaranteed pick. And this is kind of sad as well, because normally, um, CBL doesn't allow the new season's unit because they know that it's imbalanced. The fact that you can actually bring the Wu Wei Mansion Guards and the Zuan Zuanjia cavalry, heavy cavalry, um, is a massive change from CBL in previous. I do think that, like, it was just probably like, again, there's been such a big gap from CBL. Not very many, like, things are consistent across. There's a change. There might be changes and thing, but I like that they keep the rare artillery. I'm not sure if they upgraded the number to 3. Maybe they upgraded the 3 for attackers and 2 for the defenders. Could be interesting. Also, where's the mainstream? What do you mean mainstream? Crippled? Who's the mainstreamer? You want the I'm grabbing this off of whoever this is. Oh. Mm, no, they're not having a mainstream. You see, the Conqueror's Blaze dev actually don't stream show matches like these, or don't tend to. they normally just do final matches, and I mean like I'd only remember that like they did the semifinals and the finals for like it was just 2 days, like where they did like official streams. Um, oh no, I take that back. So they'd normally have already reduced the number of teams down to like a manageable level. So it'd be just kind of like a week to the finals, where they would probably have maybe 4 teams and a winners bracket and a losers bracket. I can already tell you right now that the attackers are probably going to have a very difficult time. A lot of them are using the Wu Wei Mansion guards or things that don't have much shields. But that being said, I didn't actually catch if CBEL brought any range. They do have the ball boys, but in terms of damage output, they're not actually that strong. Though, if you throw balls into a very, very dense death ball, not only are you going to cause a ton of CC, but you'll do a lot of damage. So don't get me wrong. I mean, they can dish out a lot of damage. Not to mention, you can't reduce the amount of damage. Hey, I think I think they should use fun units. And I think Retiares are a fun unit. It's flexible because it has range option and melee options, and it's actually a very strong unit in just not cost effective. Their damage output is quite high. Um, their throw is a bit inconsistent because they actually have penalties on the penetration, but they have a very, very high damage scaling. Some ridiculous 500%, but their like penetration rate is like either only 100% or like 80%. So you'll get like, do Conqueror's Blade still the same as? It's been long, long time. Conqueror's Blade, is it the same? It's worse, man. It got worse. This season, um, it's basically like Dynasty all over again, but way worse. Like way worse. Like the burst coming out of the new units just just went to another level. Like it's another level. They're not difficult to kill in comparison. The burst though is just a step up. The speed is just a step up as well. Like, oh, you say the Zhuangjia cavalry is slow? No. You activate that swift as lightning skill, they're moving at like at least 50% faster than they normally are. They run faster than like melee cavalry. And I'm not even like joking. I outran melee cavalry in like multiple times. I've outran melee cavalry just by activating swift as lightning. I've caught up to Iron Cap scouts. You also get thrown like around like a toy. Oh, the Wu Wei matching guards, when they don't have that extra damage debuff on you, they'll knock you like crazy. The knockback reminds me of Condottieri's. But it's worse because the range is bigger. The range is much bigger. There's a lot of times where I'm rolling like crazy and I'm still getting hit by knockbacks. I could be 5 meters away from any unit and I get knocked back randomly. Uh, Very unfortunate. This is not even my ad, so I'm not even going to get anything for this. Zuduan, it's not like counters don't exist. It's just that they're not effective enough. Like like the hard thing about a game like Conqueror's Blade is hard counters don't work because you never bring a hard counter in a situation where that hard counter might not even be effective. And what I mean by that is, why would you bring a dedicated pike unit when you're most likely going to face infantry? And again, this is also just a situation where you're most likely going to see both cavalry and infantry. So you're going to need a unit that's good against both cavalry and infantry. But if you bring only a unit that's dedicated against cavalry, you're screwed. You're just like straight up screwed. Because the infantry is going to roll over you and just slap you into oblivion. Now, obviously, we probably missed a whole bunch. What is the tier 5? Melee or Cav? It's Cav. It's a special Cav. Now, this is the bad thing as well. They had a big, massive throw, catching a lot of people there on the ground, but they didn't take advantage of it, so they probably took a lot of damage coming down that stairs. But the Wu Wei Matching Guard just completely wrecking the face of those units anyway. I think that was a Lancelot, and that looked like a Loyal Guard. Um, Pick a fight, dude. You can only watch one thing at a time. Does look like they're pushed onto the supply point there. Some guys coming through the front gate. Looks like Imperial Pike March into something. They pulling out though. I don't know why. You should just push through and punch through. Though looks like the Medals got pushed out. Looks like the supply point has been recaptured, and again the assault for the attackers has failed. But the exchanges here for the attackers is actually much closer than I thought it would be. They probably only lost around about 50 units in comparison, but I'm not sure about the leadership cost since calculating that's a bit difficult since I'm not sure what to expect. Rather play mirror matches than counter matchups. Oh yeah, mirror matches are way more fun because it's literally on who's better, who can set up their unit better. Now, going through the front gate is always just a very, very hard ask. It's never it's never a fun thing to do. And good job on Pika Pika going on the alternate side and coming in. But regardless on what happens, as long as you're coming in from the flank, the attackers will just straight up just never be able to come through that gate without just taking massive losses, because it's like getting T-boned. Your most of your force, cannot hit the enemy. Your force hits nothing, and so you just get attacked in the side or the rear as you whoosh past right past the enemy. Though they have closed the gap. I'm not sure where the unit pickup's coming from. Maybe it's because the cavalry. Maybe it's because of cavalry efficiency. Cavalry efficiency is always just one of the things where it's just like, oh god. You can throw 18 cavalry, and it could probably kill an entire unit's worth of infantry before dying. It's still 2 to 1 in terms of like model to model, but in terms of leadership cost, it's just so bad. This is also why I really hated it when Berserkers were super meta, because you would have an entire team that only had like 400 units because a whole bunch of leadership was dedicated to just Berserkers who only had eight models, and then the rest was probably cavalry. And so you would have really, really low unit counts, but it would just be like, oh, they've taken out like 50 guys. That's like that's like half a dozen berserkers. Not even. It's probably more than that. Oh yeah, 220 kills when berserkers is strong or cavalry is strong. Absolute nightmare if no one brings infantry. I've I've played many games where it's just like there's not even enough unit models for 240. Even with like five of us fighting for unit kills just to get 48 units each is just like wow, it's actually really difficult. I just find it really funny as well. Um, Artillery has been used a lot, but a lot of the artillery choices have been either mortars or ballistas. Mortars are great and all, but they don't do any damage. They frankly mortars like need a buff because the general health of units is just so goddamn high that like getting hit by a mortar, unless you're getting hit by three mortars at once, you're not gonna kill anything. I've been hit like my unit's been hit by mortars constantly. I get hit by like three mortars, and it's just like, oh, okay. I like half my health is gone. I could get hit by three more, and most of my unit would probably survive. Obviously, if you get hit by the mortar, you're more than likely going to get headshotted for like 6,000 damage. Now, again, super aggressive, all in burst style, and this is also just really bad because when a unit that actually can survive the burst comes around, it's just a completely different thing. The Wu Wei Mansion guards can be killed, like simple as that. Also, because we're on the CBEL tournament server, there's no doctrines, so you don't have the toughness doctrine. And I mean, like, I play with the Wu Wei Mansion guards without doctrines. They're still strong, but you have to play them like they're old Onimushas. Like, avoid the shields. Don't face tank damage. I don't want to play Correct Castle if they buff mortars. Correct Castle's not that bad. Even with a bunch of mortars, it's not that bad. Well, looks like the attackers ran out of steam. Again, just burning through units. They've barely got anything left, and I mean, like, we're seeing a guy with three cavalry. And obviously, CBL has at least a dozen units. Probably on the higher end tier, so you got like probably 6 units of tier 4s. We have like a Oyaji here with like a full on 24 unit of Lancelots. They're going out through the front gate right now. I'm not even sure what's stopping them because like they should have blown right through that front gate already. Looks like they are, but I can't see anything because cameraman. You're looking at halberdiers literally just on attack mode when the most exciting stuff happening is the front gate. So someone took out Oyaji. I'm not even sure how they defeated like an entire Lancelot unit and just smashed them into pieces. There's not really much that was left for the attacker teams, or maybe they had a couple of things outside, but just not really utilizing it. From my experience, if from my experience, if the season tier 5 is a cav, it will be toxic, unbalanced season. Means the new cav will be so OP. Yeah. I mean, let's just look at history. Wrath of Nomads, tier 5 cavalry. Actually not OP in its season. It was weak in its season because they were just better cavalry. Doesn't mean it didn't have chances to shine. It's just that in its season, it wasn't very strong. We head forward all the way to Snowstorm, actually. Snowstorm, tier 5 cavalry. It actually wasn't that strong until, like, either the last few weeks of its season. I mean, it was only strong for about 2 weeks. Or after the bug fix. Hi, King Linus. I mean, Linor. I'm wondering if they're going to do another match. I hope they do a field battle. I really do hope they do a field battle. Just 2 matches is very short, I think. But continuing on from what I was saying, Tier 5 Cavalry didn't come until. I mean, like, Northernlands Cavalry from Snowstorm. When was the next Tier 5 Cavalry? Wow, was it Chevaliers? I feel like there was others. Wow, there's a huge gap because like Snowstorm's like season 5 and Paragon's like season 10. Like there was a whole 5 seasons of no tier 5 cavalry, which was good. I think tier 5 there's too many tier 5 cavalry as it is and just not enough infantry that is viable on like a base level. Um Chevaliers again, not strong in their season. It was after their season where they were just completely broken. Like does look like that's it for the show matches. And I mean, yet Hussar is always the one getting chosen. Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Yeah. So Chevaliers was definitely strong in their season, but it's just like it didn't get picked up. It didn't get picked up until later. And I think it was mostly because of lack of information. And the main thing is that um, we were on the English side anyway. We were told that double shot doesn't do anything if you have it on the unit, and it was precisely this that I think stopped Chevaliers from being picked up. But I also think they changed it at some point. I think they changed it at some point. Either it was wrong information or they changed it. And it was bonkers how strong it came out. How strong adding double shot to the retinue was. Because like it was kind of established that they only get some kind of attack speed increase. Apparently with the charge variant you get a +1, but it got crazy powerful by adding +1 onto both the charge skill and the follow-up lance skill. But I think the attack speed increase also got buffed during the season at some point. So yeah, yeah, blue crossbows. I mean, crossbows in general are really terrible, really terrible. The fire rate was always there. Yeah, the fire rate was always there. I think they either no, I think they probably just get. I'm not sure if they got buffed during the season anymore because like my memory on like timing wise for the Chevaliers are just really weird. But I do enjoy looking back and some of the balance things because it's just like it's very easy to see that just like the developers the developers made a couple of mistakes that were so egregious. Like the one of the things that I always never understood was why would you change the Varangian Guards and Huskulls, by the way. Huskulls had infinite hit limit as well. Not only were Varangian Guards hitting infinite number of people, Huskulls also hit infinite number of people. Their stupid ass charge would instantly annihilate anything it was in contact with. But it was so garbage after that that they wouldn't be able to do anything. But the funny thing about Huskulls is that during a season, and I don't know when they changed this, they were sprinting all the time. when you X them, they were sprinting, where they were like their base speed plus sprint plus the default sprint, like this is like a 20% increase in speed, and then you had the chant, and it's just like we're gonna increase that speed by 40%. It's either like 40, like some 40%, and it's just like, yeah, the Huskars were running so fast. I I legit remember that I'm on Kuruk Castle. I'm at the B point. I'm at the B point. I ran all the way from the B point to the A point, and I could still use the level 3 charge, and it was hilarious. I wish to go back to like Huskulls should just be that fast. Like after they like Huskulls should be that fast after they're chanted. I want them to be that fast again. But now I can't even get them to move. It feels so slow. Huskarls were like weird. They were really strong for a very short amount of time. Their range was short. Like, they'd have to be directly in contact with the unit in order to hit something. So unless you had a super dense pile of units on top of something, you wouldn't actually be able to deal as much damage as you could have been. Unlike the Varangian guards, which were notorious to move as they attack. The Huskarls also moved as they attack, but like it wasn't as fast as the Varangian guards. But yeah. That's all for this stream. I mean, like, the show matches are over. We only saw 2 show matches. Not seeing much again. A little bit disappointed. A little bit disappointed that, like, we couldn't see the attackers or a good high level of teamwork. Organizations of teams are very difficult. 15 people versus 15 people are big highlights for me. I think it's really exciting to watch teams smash heads against each other and formulate strategies and team compositions where they're really trying to push the limits of their units. Unfortunately, cavalry very strong, infantry very weak. That's the kind of vibe I constantly get, and obviously you can definitely see Sally outworked very well, even with anti-cavalry out on the field, mass cavalry just blasting through everyone, and I mean, if you have an infantry versus infantry pile and a cavalry just comes running in, that cavalry will just wipe everyone. So, yeah. Well, that'll be all. I hope you guys... Huh? Last season? What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't understand you. What do you mean last season? What was last season? Was that Nightfall? I'm pretty sure last season. No, Avalon. What am I smoking? I mean, Avalon had really good units. Really, really fun units. I mean, forget about the Benavir Rangers. That cav is trash. Just use Corsaliers. Cheaper, does the same thing. I can run around 3-second charge. The Javelin unit actually turned out to be good because it was a heavy shield unit, very difficult to kill. You could be at the front line, defend your allies, throw javelins at the enemy, and these are really strong javelins because they're fast. Is the one thing. Like the arc was basically a straight projectile, and of course, like I just loved it. I just loved the Galahads. I'm so glad they finally changed to take off that melee thing. I don't want them to melee. Just block! Hey, Means Waifu, how you doing? Many good tier 5 melee, which is bad now because of the new tier 4 and new cav. It's always just going to be a running joke that tier 5 infantry don't matter if they can't deal with cavalry. It's just going to be a straight up joke. Tier 5 infantry doesn't matter unless they can deal with cavalry. Or they're so good at beating up other infantry that simply just having them win your infantry battle is more valuable than bringing anti-cav infantry. And it's just a running joke because it's just anti cavalry infantry are so garbage against cavalry that people still bring infantry to beat up other infantry, even though cavalry can do it 10 times better, and it's just hilarious. But yeah, you're gonna. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't play TW, so that's me. Am I excited to see some more CBL quality matches? Yes. Am I excited because of unit balance? No. I'm already expecting, like, I brought this up midway through the stream as well. The fact that you can use the Wu Wei Mansion Guards and the Zhuangjia Heavy Cavalry in in its own season in competition is really bad. Previously, they would restrict this season's units to be off the table because it's just really, really bad for balance. You want a new class? You want new class, new units. You want new everything. You always want more content. Everyone knows everyone wants new content. I mean, memes waifu. Honestly, I wish CBL kept the like seasonal unit off the table as like a rule for like the current season. Obviously, that would set up for very very long things because like if you add a unit ban to ranked mode, are they going to be a ban by vote or a ban by or is everyone going to get a ban? Because that's just really ridiculous. Ban unit results in 100% new unit ban rate. Yep. New units, I mean, like, OP units will get banned regardless. And new units will get banned, not only because they're OP, but because people know there are people out there using them to do unit challenges. And it's really, really, really funny. Alright. I chatted for quite a bit, and I mean, like, I'm not even streaming anything, and I love chatting with you guys. But I mean, I could talk all day about like just random stuff about ZB, but I'm not sure if everyone here is for that. At the same time, I mean, like, it's typically based on majority vote in PvP games. If they do implement that in ranked, it should be the same. Use imp archers. Real. Imp archers, again, they just take time. That's it. And again, they're also archers that actually have block break. So they're really good. Ammo, they will just scuff newbies more in ranked if they don't implement if they do implement unit bans. Yeah, pretty much. I think if they do implement unit bans, it would be crazy. Because imagine you're a new player, you start playing ranked, and it's just like, oh, all of my favorite units are banned. Only viable archer is fire archers. Nah, get out of here. Fire archers are great. They have surprisingly much higher damage than people give them credit for. But Imperial archers after their mastery are amazing. You still have longbows still being very great because of their counter archer ability. Like, the more range the enemy uses, the better the longbowmen are. Fire archers are scary. Of course they're scary. Their CC, the damage. But the problem is that all archers are glass cannons. Fire archers just simply don't have the range. They have 80 range, but good luck hitting anything at 80 range. I still wait for ban rotation unit system for ranked battle. The game was too broken with F5 units and how scary they were. Dude, I just wish ranked had CBEL rules. If ranked had CBEL rules, it would be way 1,000 times more competitive. Ranked to me is just another grind. It's not even a test of skill. I can be shit at the game and still hit Marshall. Still hit the minimum level to get into the point system. That's how easy it is. Yeah, he saw it, but he's just a community manager. Whether or not the developers actually do anything is just another question. And probably he'll have to go through like 10 layers of management in order to be approved. I don't think the ranked rewards should be any better than now. Ranked rewards are all about the prestige of getting that rank. So it needs to be a signifier. So you need to get something that lasts, and you need something that will tell people that you ranked high. Oh, you're good at the game. So it needs to be symbolic, and it needs to be just like, again, it's just a cosmetic. It's like give them horse banners. Like top 25 people get the mounted horse banners. Not that you see it very often, but if you saw it and you knew what it was, oh, you'd be like, that guy top 25. I mean, we can ban longbows so noobs don't use them in field battles. Not gonna lie, I've seen a lot of range in field battles go crazy. I've used Kriegs after their mastery on a field battle, and I racked up 180 kills, and I didn't even have to leave the B point. I walked up to the B point, started shooting, never stopped firing. Imperial Arquebusier is technically highest DPS unit in the game, unless you take Falconettis and you pack about 50 billion guys in like a single spot. They have splash damage, so that's what I'm just saying. Like Falconettis could definitely hit a lot of people if you just pack them tightly enough. But Imperial Arquebusiers have highest damage rate overall. They dwarf everyone. They're like DPS is some crazy like 370,000 or something. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm gonna close it now. I'm gonna go eat some dinner, and maybe, hopefully, I'll still be available to commentate or stream more if I feel like I'm up to it. Conqueror's Blade again. But yeah, I'm so glad that so many people kind of like popped up to watch me just talk. I'm not even playing CB, and it actually gets me excited to kind of like stream more again. So I hope to see you guys around next time. Other than that, my name's Etsuko. Have a nice day. Bye for now. Too bad we didn't get to see New Lexicon.